Something's happening. What it is ain't exactly clear.
Sitting outside a sandwich shop on a recent fall afternoon, Riverside resident Robbie Short says he's a regular voter, but he never reads the local newspaper, the Press Enterprise, before voting. In fact, he does no research at all.
I always see the same names most of the time. And if I see a new name, I'll look them up, or I won't even look them up and I'll just vote for the new name, because why not?
Former Riverside Mayor Ron Leveridge says the Press Enterprise used to matter a lot more to residents. He recalls a time more than a decade ago when people in the community and elected officials read the local paper first thing in the morning.
I'd be surprised if anybody at City Hall looks at the Press Enterprise now.
Today, the newsroom that once employed more than 100 journalists covering all of Riverside County is now down to a handful of reporters. In 2016, the New York-based hedge fund Alden Global Capital bought the Press Enterprise. A significant number of those cuts have happened since then.
The watchdog function is not there. The information function is not there. We are an explicit example of the kind of disappearance of local news.
This July, Alden acquired the San Diego Union-Tribune. There are already signs that the Union-Tribune is likely following in the footsteps of the Press Enterprise and other Alden newspapers. Buyouts, layoffs, bare bones local coverage. Hours after Alden announced it bought the Union-Tribune, the company offered buyouts. Journalists left with decades of community memory of corruption cases, courts, public safety, and politics. Leverage says this leaves communities divorced from the give and take of formulating policy and from democracy itself.
In American politics, access is local. It is not at the state, it's not at the federal level, it is local. The absence of information makes this democratic conversation locally almost non-existent.
The Orange County Register is another cautionary tale. 20 years ago, the paper had hundreds of journalists covering San Diego's neighbor to the north. Frank Mickadite worked as a reporter, editor, and columnist for the Register. He says its mission was to saturate the county with news coverage.
We had, an investigative team, and we just poured a lot of money into and resources into just every corner of journalism that existed and that we tried to invent. And it was exciting to be part of that.
Alden bought the Register in 2016. Now, sources at the paper say one reporter has to cover as many as 5 big cities. Consider a recent scandal at Anaheim City Hall. Details didn't come to light until the city released its own investigative report.
And what's kind of scary about it is that we found out about Anaheim, but who knows how many other Anaheims are out there? We don't know, and we may never know.
Lifelong Anaheim resident Cynthia Ward says now the public must grapple with the consequences.
When corruption goes unchecked, it means that money that should be coming into our communities is going into the pockets of special interests, which means our taxes have to go up to fill potholes and do the things that we count on because that money has been siphoned off. So ultimately we pay.
Mickadite says the entire country, the very republic, is in trouble if local news coverage continues its downward slide. But he does not begrudge Alden or other private equity firms for hollowing out newsrooms.
They do what they do, and it's like blaming a shark for doing what a shark does. I mean, it's just...
He says we're all to blame for letting it happen. Amita Sharma, KPBS News.